The story of George Washington begins in the quiet countryside of colonial America, long before the United States even existed. He was born in 1732 in Virginia, into a modest farming family. Life at that time was simple, but also uncertain, shaped by the influence of the British Empire that ruled over the American colonies. As a young man, Washington did not receive the kind of formal education many leaders of his time had. Instead, he learned through experience. He worked as a surveyor, traveling across rough land, mapping territories, and gaining a deep understanding of the American wilderness. These early years quietly shaped his character, building discipline and resilience. His path changed when he entered military service during the French and Indian War. This conflict, fought between Britain and France in North America, gave Washington his first real taste of leadership. Though he made mistakes, he also gained something more important: experience under pressure and a growing sense of responsibility. Years later, tensions between the American colonies and Britain began to rise. Taxes, control, and lack of representation led to widespread frustration. When the colonies decided to resist, Washington was chosen to lead the Continental Army. At first glance, it was not an easy choice. The army was untrained, underfunded, and often outmatched by British forces. Yet Washington brought something that could not be easily measured. He had patience, he had determination, and perhaps most importantly, he had the trust of the people. Through harsh winters, limited supplies, and repeated setbacks, he held the army together. Moments like the winter at Valley Forge tested not just the soldiers, but Washington himself. Still, he endured. The turning point came gradually. With help from allies like France and a series of strategic decisions, the Continental Army began to gain ground. The war eventually ended with American victory, and suddenly, the colonies were no longer colonies. They were independent. At that moment, Washington made a decision that surprised many. Instead of holding on to power, he stepped down as commander. In a world where leaders often clung to control, this act set a powerful example. It showed that leadership could be guided by principle, not ambition. Not long after, the newly formed nation faced another challenge: how to govern itself. Washington was once again called to serve, this time as the first president of the United States. His presidency helped shape the foundation of the country. He established traditions, balanced authority, and carefully navigated political tensions that could have easily divided the young nation. He served 2 terms and then stepped away from office, choosing once again not to hold power longer than necessary. This decision quietly set a standard that would influence future leaders for generations. George Washington's life was not defined by perfection, but by steady choices made during uncertain times. He helped guide a group of colonies into becoming a nation, and he did so with restraint, discipline, and a clear sense of duty. Today, his story still matters because it reminds us that leadership is not just about strength or victory. Sometimes it is about knowing when to step forward and when to step away.